Hey folks, how you doing? Dov Baron, Full Monty Leadership. Out here doing another video. I don't know, hopefully you just caught the one that I just did on Dov Baron Leadership on my fan page there. If you didn't catch it, get over there. That's the one where I talked about moving to Australia, the impotence of complaining and corporate culture. I think there's some good stuff in there for you. Felt inspired to share that with you, and I finished up and started thinking about something else that kind of had on my mind for a little while and thought I would share a video with you about it. The question of debt. I mean, let's face it, who do you know who is debt-free? Really? I mean, think about it. Almost every one of us has some level of debt. Now, I'm going to take this in a little bit different direction than you might expect, because I'm going to talk about debt in more than in a financial way. Most of us have carried some kind of financial debt. For some of you, you're very good with money and you save and you do all those things, but you probably still have the debt of a mortgage. Maybe you paid that off, maybe you paid your car off. But most people in their lives are running their lives on debt. Now, what does debt mean? Well, debt means you borrowed money, you borrowed something from somebody who had what you wanted, and they loaned it to you, right? Simple. So, I want a car, and if you loan me your car, I'm actually in debt in the sense that you loan me your car, right? If I want a car, and you have money, and you loan me that money to purchase the car, then I'm in debt because I have a loan with you. Makes sense, right? But what if you live your life in debt? This is the question I want to put forward to you. Do you live your life in debt? Not just financially, but in all kinds of ways. I was having a conversation with a leader that I work with very recently. And we're talking about the fact that he had gone on a date. Gone on a date with somebody who he didn't particularly feel drawn to, didn't particularly want to go out on a date with, but went out on a date with this person. My first question to him was, well, why did you go? Why did you go if you didn't really want to go? Did you know this person? He said, yeah, I had met them before. They'd asked me to go on a date with them. And I said, but you didn't want to go. No, well, why did you go? Well, this is a nice person. Okay, I get that. Why did you go? Well, it's a nice person. Yeah, but did you want to go on the date? No. Well, then why did you go? Well, I don't know. I just wanted to be nice. Why did you want to be nice? He said, well, isn't that what we're supposed to do? Aren't we supposed to be nice to people? Of course we're supposed to treat people decently, but I still don't know why you went on a date with somebody you didn't want to go on a date with. Tell me why that is. And he couldn't really come up with an answer. And so I asked him a deeper question, and this is the question. What do you owe them? He goes, what do you mean, what do I owe them? What did you owe this person you went on a date with? He said, I didn't owe him anything. Clearly you did. Because you went on a date with him that you didn't want to go on. So you operated out of obligation, you operated out of debt. You behaved as if you owed them something, instead of telling the truth and saying, thank you, nice person, I like you, but I have no interest in going on a date with you. Instead of telling the truth, you went on this obligational date. That means you were carrying some kind of moral debt. You had some kind of emotional debt. What was the debt? And he struggled. You might be struggling too, even as you're listening to this, to come up with, well, why he would go on that date. I said, tell me about your interactions with this person before you went on the date. He said, well, I told you she's very nice. I said, yeah, but tell me about it. How is she nice? And he went on to explain how she had said some really nice things to him, how she'd been very complimentary to him. And I said, oh, so that's the debt. You owe her a date because she was complimentary to you, because she paid you compliments, because she said nice things to you. And so you figure the moral debt to that is for you to go on a date with her. Is that what it is? And honestly, he was stunned for a minute. Like, the possibility that that could be the truth, that somewhere in his psyche there was this interchange, unspoken of course, this interchange, that because he needed that significance, because he needed, and we all need it, don't get me wrong, because he needed compliments, he needed significance, he needed recognition, and she had given it to him, he felt like he owed her a date. And he even talked himself into, well, you know, maybe I'm not seeing the full beauty of this person. Maybe I'm not seeing the true magnificence of this person. Maybe I'm not X, Y, Z. Hi, Lisa. Maybe, hi, Tom. Hi, hi, Franco. Hi, Tom. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me. We all need something. But instead of asking for what it is that we need, we start this debt process with people. We manipulate. So we pay somebody a compliment, we say some things to them. And what's your payoff? Can you actually give the compliment? Can you actually say something without wanting something back? Because if you want something back, you're unconsciously setting up a debt process. So most of the people you're engaged with at some level, there's some sense of debt with. You know, people talk about unconditional love, and you've heard me talk about how full of crap that is, and you need some healthy conditions. But how about unconditional giving? To actually give with zero strings attached. That's not bullshit. That's actually real. Where you don't set up a debt. Where there's no account keeping whatsoever. Where you just do because you want to do. You give because you want to give. That removes the obligation and it gets you out of debt. So when somebody says, will you? And you don't want to, you say, no, thank you. And when, see, I'll do something nice with somebody, and very often people will say things to me like, you didn't have to do that. You know what my response to that is? I know. I probably wouldn't have done it if I had to do it. I do it because I want to do it. I'm caring, I'm giving, I'm generous because I want to be caring, giving, or generous. My challenge to you is to get yourself out of debt, to actually start paying attention to the things that you do. And whether you're doing them out of an obligation, out of some kind of moral or emotional debt that you feel like you owe them something, rather than doing it because you want to do it, because you want to give something. And if you can't do it from that place, my challenge to you is to not do it, to actually tell the truth. You know, people talk a lot about authenticity, but most people have no clue what it means. But part of authenticity is telling your truth. And it's not societally necessarily what people want to hear. But tell the truth. Actually say what it is that you want to say. Tell your truth. Be honest. People will love you and respect you far more for it, I promise you. Get yourself out of moral and emotional debt. In another example, I was talking to somebody very recently who had, and this is very intimate, but I think it's going to hit the point for you, who had sex with somebody they did not want to sleep with. And I asked why. And we got to the same thing about how this person had made them feel good, etc., etc. And as a result, they'd end up having sex with somebody they didn't really want to have sex with because they made them feel good. And I said, why would you do that? I mean, that's a pretty big commitment to sleep with somebody. And this person sort of struggled around and then talked about how in childhood somebody had been sexual with them when they were a child, when they were desperately in need of feeling good. That person had taken them out, taken them on a motorcycle ride, did cool things with them. And as a result, that child ended up going along with the sexual behavior of an adult who was a pedophile, who had seduced, who had manipulated this child. The problem is, those things don't go away in childhood. They get wedged inside of your psyche. So I really want you to take a look at where you give out of some kind of moral or emotional debt that's actually got nothing to do with a conscious choice. Because one of the grand illusions of life that people run is that they think they're actually making conscious choices. when in fact most of the time they're behaving out of obligation. Stop, become conscious. There's greatness inside of you, but you'll never reach it running your life on obligation. So Dov Baron, full Monty leadership, challenging you to stay curious, my friend. Stay curious about how you're paying your moral debt that you maybe don't need to pay, and how you keep setting yourself up for more debt by not telling your truth. Till next time, Dov Baron, full Monty leadership. Thanks for joining me. If this is powerful, useful, and valuable to you, please feel free to share it with anyone else you think really needs to hear this message, so add value. All right, thanks again. Thanks for joining me. Good for those of you who are here live online. I really appreciate that. Thanks for your feedback. Thanks Tom, thanks Steve, thanks Todd, thanks Stephanie, thanks Judy, and everybody else who joined in. Thanks, really appreciate it. Stay curious and keep sharing.